Lunatix itself was always a idea or a concept. So as I see myself growing, I see my interests change, but the idea is the same. Mm-hmm. So I'm a little bit older now. I graduated from college. I'm not so much into throwing events, but the beauty in the events wasn't necessarily making the money and turning up, but it was seeing people, step out of their shell, not running from their hidden inhibitions and enjoying themselves. Like people used to come and really live the time of their lives and not be judged for it or have to go back and hear about it. So I wanted to do something that basically projects that, but not just for having fun, but for any dream or talent or passion or purpose that you're kind of pushing.
Hey, my name is Dr. Star, and on this week's episode of Relentless Humble Hustlers, I have here with me the former SGA president of Claflin University and a brother of the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Now, Matt Springs, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So now, the purpose of this is to pretty much promote your new clothing brand. You have already done so much at Claflin University, my HBCU as well, and Lunatix. So tell me about your clothing brand, apparel brand, Lunatix.
So yeah, Lunatix The Brand is our clothing brand. Lunatix itself is a concept, an idea, because we've been running with Lunatix before we started doing clothes. So the idea of Lunatix started with me and my brother doing events, and that all started with basically a birthday. We had a birthday party, and we had a birthday, and we was gonna have like a typical run-of-the-mill birthday party. People just have a little kickback at the crib or something like that.
Right.
But a lot of friends, people we knew, was like, "No, y'all should have a real party. Y'all can bring people out. Things can happen." So that was kind of like the first taste and idea of Lunatix, and really kind of knowing yourself and the exploration of yourself, the different things you have to add, and the different values you had. That was a strong moment for me because I started realizing I had influence and I had value outside of what was on campus and how people knew me back home and what I was doing when I was in a suit. So I mean, that came up with the first idea, and that was the name of the first event we did. We called it Lunatix.
So let's back up a second and go ahead and explain to my viewers, how did you come up with the name Lunatix? Because you spell it different, obviously, so break down the spelling of Lunatix, also the name itself.
So the name itself, because we said, well, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do something off the wall. We're gonna do something that everybody wants to do, but they're afraid to do, basically. And that went to the party we had. We had a lingerie party, and typically people do that. People gonna do that. Ladies gonna do it like they gonna just do it at the hotel with their friends, because they don't want all the weird energy. Men gonna show up just dressed as men and that. Really like engulfing themselves into the event without it being.
Why did y'all choose lingerie though? Out of all things, and I know you spoke on, you saying you have an influence to get women to show up in lingerie isn't a small feat. So why did you even come up with the concept of lingerie?
Well, because I mean, like I said, it's something that everybody wants to do, but everyone's
afraid to do.
We wanted to step out the box, and we want to make people feel comfortable about doing those different things. Because the human skin is natural, sex is natural, having fun is natural. But specifically, like on a college campus, and then being at HBCUs and being in the South, places real traditional, real conservative, then even though we enjoy these things, we try to shy away from it, or we try to hide it, and then it blows up, and then something happens, and then it's something that we're ashamed of. People are ashamed to have fun. People are ashamed to show their feelings, specifically people in the black community, specifically black men. So we wanted to basically build it up to where everybody, because to have a good time, people gonna come out to have a good time. People gonna spend money they didn't want to spend, buy fits that they couldn't afford, just to have that good time.
For that moment, a lot of people living for the moment. So you mentioned your brother, which is Matt Springs. He's done a lot of things at Claflin as well. He is also known as Smokey the Panther at Claflin University, and you and him came up with this idea of Lunatix. Now tell me, what inspiration came for Lunatix?
So I mean, the inspiration, one, of course, just being our birthday, Capricorn, so it does with a lot of astrology and space and spirituality goes into it. But just the idea of the word Lunatix literally means somebody who thinks differently, or somebody who's crazy. A long time ago, crazy on.
And how did you manage to want to not go the crazy route, but the person who want to do something out of the box? So how are you pushing to? Because when I think of Lunatix, I think of crazy, right?
I mean, essentially, those are the same things, just in a different lens. Because especially when every time there's a new innovation or something happens or somebody's bringing something new, people call them crazy at first.
That's true. Everybody call them bored.
Yeah, especially in science, a lot of different things. A lot of people were in prison or died because of the idea that we still use and push to this day. So a lot of stuff that even we do now, people looking back and they say, "Oh, that's crazy. We never do that. You're insane for doing that." And now it's highlighted.
But it was the norm.
And I mean, you look at people who big businesses and stuff like that. People who've grown from Elon Musk to Jeff Bezos or whoever it may be. They started off. They working out their garage or living in their car. People will tell them, "You just need to go get a job. You need to follow the basic status quo. You crazy for chasing your dream." And now, I mean, multimillionaires going to the moon, doing things that other people can't do because they decided to be themselves and step out the box.
Correct. So your slogan, or motto, should I say, is "Live, Not Exist." So you elaborated on just living in your true self and showing people that what you can do outside of the norm can later on become a trend, which happens a lot of the time. Like you bring up different multimillionaires, multi-billionaires, came up with these crazy ideas, and now people want to hop on board. Okay, so before we even started the interview, you were showing me hookah tips. You mentioned doing lanyards and other avenues within just outside of apparel. So what's the inspiration of making this a global brand instead of just apparel?
I mean, because Lunatix itself was always a idea or a concept. So as I see myself growing, I see my interests change, but the idea is the same. So I'm a little bit older now. I graduated from college. I'm not so much into throwing events, but the beauty in the events wasn't necessarily making the money and turning up, but it was seeing people, step out of their shell, not running from their hidden inhibitions and enjoying themselves. Like people used to come and really live the time of their lives and not be judged for it or have to go back and hear about it. So I wanted to do something that basically projects that, but not just for having fun, but for any dream or talent or passion or purpose that you're kind of pushing.
So you mentioned astrology being a big part of it, and also a moon is incorporated into your logo. So tell my viewers on how astrology, you say you mentioned you're a Capricorn. So a lot of Capricorns I know are pretty much bosses, in my opinion. So why is astrology important to you, and why would you want to incorporate it in Lunatix?
I feel like astrology is important because just when we think of big astral bodies and the moon and things like that, those have always been representation and symbolism of bigger things and bigger ideas and bigger concepts. So I like to say like a lot of different things, like in hip hop, even spirituality. And even speaking of that, when you go in that, you go into ideas like the 5 percenters and the nation of gods and earths and things like that. And they use a lot of symbolism with numbers, the supreme alphabet, the sun, the moon, all those different things.
So can you explain your icon? Because you have the 8-pointed star. So explain the meaning of that.
All right. So if you look different places, it's gonna mean something. It's gonna mean
for you.
It's gonna be called something different. But for us, it's basically like a star of prophecy, a star of wisdom and knowledge, and at the same time, like a navigation star. So when you get a compass and a star, you get the north, south, east, west, and you got the other 4 points or whatnot. So basically using your knowledge and your dreams and just manifesting things in the direction that you want to go. And kind of just following like the flow and energy of wherever the higher power takes you. Because, I mean, before I probably wouldn't say I'd be doing the clothing line. Like I always felt like I tried to do my own thing here and there, but to be stepping out and doing this and doing that is things I wouldn't necessarily say I was going to do once before.
I mentioned earlier you are the former SGA president of the illustrious Claflin University, and also you graduated with a BA in political science. How has that helped you navigate becoming an entrepreneur in your clothing brand Lunatix?
Specifically my degree, just because politics is basically just the science of people or how people in systems work. So it just kind of helps me navigate the crowd, the idea what people are doing and people thinking. So I mean, some of the same kind of knowledge and ideas that I use as far as being SGA president and doing Alpha and just doing things on campus, I still use the same. And I mean, I'd say my ideology came for parties and stuff like that. Knowing how to get in touch with people's minds and what they're thinking, so they can buy a party ticket or buy a t-shirt. The main goal is to continue branding. I like to move fast, so I'll try to put like a whole store together before building a foundation. And I mean, I'm trying to run a brand. I'm not trying to run a boutique. A boutique, you can get clothes and sell it to whoever, but the brand is the idea, it's a concept. So building that community, having people who understand my brand, align themselves with the brand, and then that's how you build. And then from there, you can move further out and get a different audience and things like that. But solidify the brand, strengthen the community of the brand, and then from there, just continue to grow.
Okay. And I appreciate you so much for sitting down with me. Again, I know you're from Claflin University. You've done so much with Claflin. You actually supported me my first time with being on camera. I thank you so much for this opportunity. And Lunatix is definitely going to be a global brand. I believe in what you're doing.
Amen.
Okay, so tell the people on how they can find you, how they can purchase items from Lunatix brand, and also how they can keep in touch with what you have going on in the future.
Lunatix is Lunatix, and then the brand. So same for the Instagram, Lunatix The Brand. Same for the Twitter and for the website, lunatixthebrand.com. So definitely click on, see different things we have going on. We got our basic tees, we got the Soul Black, Pure Gold, and we got the Spirit White, along with some other different things. In September, we really coming. So we bringing some accessories, bringing back the hoodies and some long sleeves, and a whole new t-shirt. So we got a big drop coming. So everybody stay tuned, and remember, live not exist, live comfortable, live free, live you.
Amen.